Hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new video where today we are rating every single pallet breaking animation in the game. I won't hold you back anymore, let's just get straight into it. Kicking us off with the worst pallet breaking animation is unfortunately going to go to the Trapper. I'm sure most of you had guessed. And the reason is surely because of his age. He is the oldest killer in the game and his animations aren't too good. Just chilly for its time. He's just an old killer. However, it would have been nice to see him swing through the pallet with that giant cleaver of his or anything else, but instead it's just a kick. Coming in at our 34th spot is Hillbilly, and the reason he is rated lower than Wraith, which I'm sure will confuse some of you, is because Hillbilly has a chainsaw and an axe, and he still decided to use his foot. Now, obviously this is also due to his time. He is a very old character, so it's kind of the same reasoning as Trapper. They can't do anything cool because they were inexperienced back then, but I would have still loved to see him just wham through that pallet with his hammer instead. When it comes down to Wraith's pallet breaking animation, I'm not too annoyed by it due to the fact that he can't really do anything else. He just kind of has to kick it. His axe is too small and he has no other weapons, so I'm not too mad at it, but it's still boring. Doctor's is also very basic. I know it wouldn't be physically correct to have him electrocute the pallet into destruction, but imagine how cool that would look. It would just be awesome. Now Michael's, I understand why they gave him the kicking animation instead of a different animation, but he is Michael Myers. He should be very strong, at least capable of stomping the pallet and not just kicking it twice. I don't know, I think the animation looks a bit wonky on Myers, but again, he's a very old killer, so for his time, it's pretty good. For current time, it's boring, but you know, I'm not too mad about Michael's. Now the Huntress has a kicking animation as well, which always confused me considering she has, well, an axe, and plenty of other mini axes too. She's got a gigantic broad axe, and she tends to kick a pallet barefoot. I don't understand that, but again, she's quite an old character. I just wish they had cool animations. I really do hope in the future they come in with an animation rework and change all these up. That'd be so cool. Now the only reason that this one wasn't last place was because he makes noises whilst doing it. And Clown does that with everything, but I actually despise this one. So yeah, fuck this one. It's boring. Sure, there's nothing else Clown can do, but he's still boring. Now Leatherface, he's got a chainsaw, but I understand why they're not using it for the animation, surely due to the fact that in his chainsaw sweep you can break pallets in less than a second, and having one animation where it takes like 3 seconds to break a pallet and one animation where it takes 0.5 is going to be a bit confusing. So I understand why they didn't, I just wish he did something cool. Again, the kicks are so boring. Now I understand Freddy Krueger having the kick animation. I mean, the only other weapon he realistically has is his finger knives, because the entity did nerf him down to a point where he didn't have all of his dream powers, so he can't do cool things like he could in the movies. But again, kick animation, not entertaining to watch anymore, just sort of annoying. Now this one's kind of cool, it's got some nice dust animation there. It's still a kick animation, but at least it has particle effects. And that's all I have to say about the pigs. It's crappy, but it's got cool effects, so I'm not necessarily mad. And you can actually see the detail on the pallet breaking every kick. So those minor detail points do give it cool points too. Now there are pallet breaking animations that are just boring, and then there are cool ones that are just bad. So how did that break the pallet? If anyone can explain to me how that broke the integrity of the pallet, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, he stabbed it and then ran away from it and it broke when he touched the ground. I understand the entity does break the pallets for the killers because half of them wouldn't actually be as strong as to kick all the way through it, especially not this plastic doll. But I mean, why didn't they get like Charles to do it? Or, you know, anything else? I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me, that's why it's rated so low. At least it's not a kick though, I'll give it points for that. Unfortunately, unlike the pig, the Legion has 0 particle effects in its kicking animation, but at least his camera angle is slightly different and moves with the character when kicking. It doesn't really make much sense though, because his back leg must have wheels on it for him to be capable of doing this, because he kind of bounces back and then comes forwards, but it's at least they tried. Again, boring kick animations are just going to be boring kick animations. Now I understand he's Ghostface and he doesn't have anything besides a hunting knife, but all these big brand licenses are getting the most boring animations ever. Sure, I know that most of them are very old, but Ghostface is still... no, he's not new at all actually, but I still wish he had something else. I know he doesn't, and I know he can't, because all he is a dude, and that's it, but I still wish he did. Plus to this one is that the camera angle makes sense. When he comes in and backs out, it doesn't look like he's sliding all over the place. It just looks like he's booting the pallet, which is good. Good job, Oni. However, you have a giant fucking Japanese kanabo on your back. Please use that. I know he uses that in his Blood Fury mode, which, so I understand why they didn't make him do it, but he's also got a sword. And I know it's a samurai sword and you probably shouldn't be beating wood with that, but considering the amount of Onis I've 360'd and they've smacked a rock, I don't think it would make much difference anymore. It's just kicking. He's cool. He's a really cool character with a really cool power and story, and all he does is kick. Oh, Pyramid Head. You have a gigantic sword at your disposal, right? Imagine this. You have a gigantic sword at your disposal. A massive, well, it's a knife, but it's still huge. And so you decide to kick a piece of wood with your leg. What the fuck? I understand he's an immortal kind of god, which doesn't actually exist. If you play Silent Hill, you know what I mean. But also, I've seen him swing that gigantic knife over his shoulder to kill... oh, even in Dead by Daylight, he does it to kill a survivor. In the, in his mini execution that he gets if you're tormented and on death hook. Don't mind that voice crack, we're gonna talk about it. But why use your foot for this when you could just swing that over your head? Man, imagine how cool that would look too. But, you know, I mean, I guess they were kind of limited at the time, but this was like the 4th year anniversary character. They definitely should have done something cool, and it's their first video game license. I understand he does have a different animation, like he kind of looks up whilst he's doing it, and his locker animation is different and stuff, but I just, you know, the pallet ones are always the cool ones, and I'm super excited to see in the PTBs, and I'm sure most of you are too, so I just kind of wish that Pyramid Heads was better. Now, Trickster has a bat with a blade on it. He basically has an axe. That's basically what he's got. But he kicks the pallet still. Why? I understand, again, it would be a lot of work to animate something completely new and different without any placeholders or anything like that. But, you know, it would be so cool. It would be so cool to watch Trickster beat it with his bat. I know he does that with the gens and the doors and stuff like that, but imagine, it would just be cool. It would just be cool. I know this is just a small animation in the game and I'm getting over my head for it, but they are cool at the end of the day, and they should be if they're not, because it's something you see nearly every single match, right? You don't want it to get repetitive and boring, but, you know, I wish they would rework most of these, but they probably won't, because again, it's just an interaction, it's nothing too special. Here's a kind of cool one. She uses both of her legs. That's new, and that gets cool points. And also, she's supposed to be like a bird, so that's why her movements are very bird-like. So Artist is pretty cool for a kick animation, and I'm not mad at it because it is something different, which is all I'm asking for. So thanks, behavior. Skull Merchant has a gigantic wrist blade from the movie Predator on her arm, and she still refuses to use it and kicks the pallet instead. Now, I know why. Is because it would be a lot of work to animate her breaking that, but considering her door break animation is literally her leaping into the air like an anime protagonist and fucking shunting her shoulder through that door, this could be cooler, guys, come on. I just wish they had something different. It's boring. It's still boring. Now, at the time of me recording this piece. He was released yesterday, and the Unknown still only has a kick animation. Now, I get it, he does bend over and kind of use his arms to support himself, and then he uses his completely contorted foot to slam through the pallet, so I do kind of understand that it is cool and it is different, and I'm not mad at this one. I wish it was different, you know. I mean, he's got an axe, but there is a reason he doesn't use that, and that's because the Unknown is not a human and does not understand how that works as a weapon. He does not know what he is holding. He's just like, this is stick and it hurts people, and I'm going to use it. And that's also why he pokes it when he uses the top of the axe when he breaks generators. He doesn't understand what an axe is, which is, I think, a really cool continuity and sort of attention to detail thing, but we won't get into that just yet. That can be a whole other fucking video on gen breaking shit, I don't care. He still uses his foot, and that makes me sad. He's got tentacles coming out of his back for his Mori, but he kicks a pallet. Surely some of you at least understand my frustration with these things. I just want them to be cooler, but I understand they take time. Now, Singularity, I think, has zero excuse for this. I mean, I know he's a superficial AI, so he's trying to find the most efficient way to break that pallet, but, you know, he's got a giant claw in his left hand and a massive scythe on his right hand. I'm sure you can come up with some better way to break the pallet than stomping it twice with your nub of a foot. Like, why not have him stick his scythe through and then use the claw to break one part of it and just push, or even push his scythe on top and use the claw to bend it and just snap the wood? It would just be cool. It would just be cool, you know? These videos are very fun to make, and it does open up my creativity and mind, and I don't know why I'm rambling, so we'll move on to the next one. I just wish some of these were cooler, man. Nemesis has an animation that I think is awesome. I love the fact that he just breaks through it, you know, fucking power chucks that shit into the pallet, and I think it's really cool. I know it's ripped directly from Resident Evil, but at least it's not a kick. That's why it gets its cool points. On to the next. Now, Deathslinger is awesome, and one of the reasons is because he doesn't kick it. And the other reason is also because he doesn't kick it. You see, Deathslinger has a wounded leg, which is why he moves so slow. But he can't kick a pallet with a wounded leg. So I understand why he's not, and it's very cool. However, I'm pretty sure doing that will break the barrel inside your gun. So do not hit things with the base of rifles, because it will snap the little chamber inside and you will not be able to use your gun anymore. Now, the nurse holds a very cool one, using her telekinetic abilities to snap the pallet from the inside out. I think it's super cool looking. It looks way better first person than it does third though, because in third person she flops around like a wet sock. But, you know, first person you feel really cool when you do it. An old killer, actually all of her animations did kind of get redone recently, including in the pallet breaking one, but it was basically the same. She doesn't break it. An old killer that doesn't break it with her foot. She snaps it with her giant claw of a hand, which is awesome. Very cool. So thanks, Hag, for not being a total douchebag and not having shitty animations. That's cool, thank you. Now, the Plagues is one I enjoy because, again, she's using her incense holder to kick it, or break it, sorry. So you're saying kick it. Anyway, using her incense holder to break it is way better than watching her kick it, even though she's perfectly capable of kicking it. I'm very happy that the devs did not make her kick it. That is big up points for me. I like that. Spirits is super cool, doing exactly what I recommended for Oni, you know, breaking it with the sword and doing a really nice flowing movement when doing it. It's super satisfying to watch from the first person perspective. So yeah, super slick, super smooth, and very satisfying, so I like this one. Good job, devs. On to the next. Now, Sadako has one of the most awesome pallet breaking animations. The way she just kind of telekinetically snaps it is so nice and so cool. I love watching it from a first and third person perspective, but it's just the way she even simulates it with her hand. She breaks it. So cool. I love it. On to the next one. Now the Knight is another killer who's perfectly capable of kicking it, so I'm super happy they made him swing his gigantic weapon over his head and break it like that. That's exactly the shit that I want to see. Now the Dredge is very cool in my opinion, mainly because, as you guys know, pallet breaking animations do have to take a certain amount of time, which is why a lot of them are just kicks, but Dredge is a perfect example of what, you don't have to just rely on kicks to get the timing done. I mean, all he really does for most of it is lift his arms in the air, and it's still way cooler than Trapper's, so I like it. Now, Blight utilizing every single weapon in his arsenal from his left hand to his giant cane is very cool. And it just displays that you don't have to kick a pallet, you can fucking wreck that shit and you'll still look really cool, because kicking a pallet doesn't really make you look that cool, I won't lie. I like Blights a lot, it's very cool. The Twins has an incredibly unique pallet breaking animation where her scythe gets stuck into the pallet and ripping it out is what breaks it. I think it's so cool to look at. I love the new sound effects they made for it. So sick, I love that one. Now, whilst there is more to be desired with aliens, it's still super cool to watch this, extraterrestrial being just come through and wreck this piece of wood using its claws. Although from the first person perspective, it's not as cool as watching it from the outside. But it's still, like, fun, I guess. Wesker utilizing his Ouroboros for it is also super cool. It's kind of what I wish Nemesis did, just take out the giant fucking load of tentacles you have and slam it through the piece of wood. Job done, no questions asked. I do like it a lot, I think it's very cool. And I don't really have any desire for more to be added to this one. It is one of the best ones just because of how slick it is and how it is very Weskery. It's very smooth. It utilizes his ability and it's awesome to watch, so I like it. Pinhead utilizing his power and his chains to break the pallet, because him as a character doesn't actually like touching things such as survivors. He just uses all of those chains and hooks to break the pallet. It's so cool just to watch him do it. He's so powerful. It's the number one in my opinion, just because the special effects all over the place. You watching him do it from afar is basically the same as him using his power, so it's super good for attention to detail. And all in all, it's just one of my favorite ones because of how fun it feels. Like, you do really feel like you're a Cenobite when you fucking use chains to rip apart a piece of wood. It's always fun with that. I love that. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today. Yeah, sorry for not uploading for a while before my most recent video. Again, I'm just running out of ideas. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I know a majority of you were just here for the animations and not here for me to talk, but I talk, that's what I do. Welcome to the channel. Subscribe if you want to, and if you enjoyed the video, and yeah, give it a like too. And I will see you in the next video. Have a good day or night, depending on where you live. Goodbye.